I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today. We are going to get started on personal reading shortly, but before we begin, the list, as always, is open. As always, it is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. We're also going to be doing a giveaway today. When we get to 50K likes, I'll be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen and we will get to 50K in no time. Prior to beginning today's daily collective reads, I will be giving a brief recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. Now, if you'd like to find that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos. You can find it over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find it as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my spot. But before we get started today, first and foremost, most important question: how are you doing today? Scale of 1 to 10, there are no wrong answers. The worst thing that you could be doing right now is getting comfortable in the energy. It's just the worst thing you could be doing right now. I've been saying this ever since we had that full moon in Sagittarius. The energy right now is absolutely wild. Every couple days we're going through a very, very intense shift. And we've still got a really big one on the horizon, which is in just a few days. We're going to not only be going through a Mercury retrograde period, but we're also going to be navigating the fact that we're going to be having the full moon in Capricorn on top of right around the same exact time that we see that Jupiter is finishing its cycle through Cancer and moving into Leo. What does that effectively mean? It means we're working through a lot of lessons related to strength, okay? And one of the things that we often see, I've been talking about this, sometimes we're going through lunation cycles that are very easy, right? It's smooth sailing. Sometimes they feel a little bit more rigorous. This one potentially feels a little bit more rigorous because we're navigating the fact that we started. The last full moon we had, which probably feels like it was like a million years ago, was a full moon in Sagittarius. Now, here's the thing with full moons in Sagittarius. They can feel a little eclipsy, right? They can feel like they bring with them bursts of energy, right? The ability to effectively overcome the impossible. They're great when it comes to being able to have confidence in the self. They're great in terms of being able to kind of put one's best foot forward or having a lot of confident leaps of faith. The hard part that we often see navigating through a full moon in Sagittarius into a new moon in Gemini is working through pathwork of energetic consistency. And I would not be surprised if you felt like you kind of came out of that full moon in Sagittarius and moved towards that new moon in Gemini. I would be really surprised if you didn't feel like there was a little bit of clumsiness there. And that's not to say that there's something inherently clumsy about Gemini energy, but you have to understand the quality by which we go through Sagittarius energy that's literally arrow, right? You got arrow energy and then boom, dispersal, right? So it's like arrow dispersal. So the nice thing that we often see moving into a full moon in Capricorn is really being able to like knuckle and buckle down, right? It's being able to focus on something. It's being able to put a lot of hard work into something. And it's kind of a journey that articulates upon our consistency when we're in, and it's like, it kind of works through the irony of consistency, right? Because there you are being like absolutely reliable and absolutely consistent. And what does it often feel like as you're trying to prioritize consistency? It feels clumsy, right? It feels impossible. It feels very discombobulated. But that's an internal problem, right? What everyone else sees is you effectively showing up the way that you show up, right? And it's something that effectively happens cumulatively. This is also having a different impact. And I'm going to have a whole article about this shortly. I'm going to be releasing over on Mystic Meditations in terms of how to effectively use this energy effectively in terms of, again, new opportunities, new avenues, new ideas, new perceptions on communication, new ways of seeing things that allow you to work harder at them, if that makes sense. Now, all of that is going to be in the new Mystic Meditation articles, which is probably coming out in the next couple of days. In the meantime, you can find the new moon in Gemini one that I wrote. We're still kind of going through that energy. So it will still be helpful, even if we're not necessarily under the auspices of that new moon entirely right now. We're still going through that transition. It's also having a big impact on where you may find yourself on the frequency cycles right now. And I got to tell you, yesterday's reading was very interesting, particularly because we had one card in its transverse. And the card in its transverse was the Queen of Wands in its transverse. But the thing about it, and I got to point this out, and here's the thing, this is why I like teaching the classes, because working into the class system and understanding the quality by which each card means something very unique depending on the energetic position that you find it in. And I got to tell you, there's something important to recognize to a certain extent, where a Queen of Wands in its transverse is actually one of its more ideal positions, right? Because you have to understand that a lot of that Queen of Wands energy is working into the ability to be energetically practical. It's the ability, like I always like to describe the Queen of Wands as a very pragmatic card. So the fact that we even see that Queen of Wands in that transverse experience, we see that that is a Queen of Wands that is effectively prioritizing adaptability, which is the Queen of Wands' strong suit. So in that way, we see that this is something that's very important because it allows the context of being able to identify, like, what's the benefit? What's the benefit of doing something over and over and over again? Expertise, right? And that's the wild thing about it. Expertise is something that we energetically build upon. It's something that we effectively grow. So we see that it's interesting, because I do feel like there's something important about this energy and these relationship cycles that are coming into focus right now that are fundamentally focused upon pathwork of expertise, right? And the thing about it is, especially given the fact that we saw, like, what do we see that Queen of Wands surrounded by yesterday? We saw a lot of court cards. Okay, we had a Knight of Pentacles in its upright beside that Queen of Wands in its transverse. We also had a Page of Pentacles in its upright next to that Queen of Wands in its transverse, as well as a Queen of Pentacles. We had almost, I need to point this out, we had almost all of the court cards of the Pentacle suite come out yesterday, with the exception of the King of Pentacles in its upright, which makes a lot of sense because this is culmination energy, right? And the King of Pentacles is more in the context of fruition. So in a way, we can kind of look at that Capricorn full moon as King of Pentacles energy to a certain extent, which also makes sense on the fact that it wasn't necessarily in the deck or in the spread, but was kind of being given indications in the fact by which, like, right, the Hermit card in its reversal often navigates inevitability, right? When you're working towards a manifestation goal, it's not about waiting for circumstances or situations to be right, but building inevitable environments, right? So it's just like a lot of that energy that we potentially see there. And that's what we basically see for a lot of these new relationships that are starting right now, bearing in mind that we're currently working through strength relationships. And these were the relationships that were coming together between the time of that new moon in Capricorn, correction, between the time of that new moon in Taurus during Taurus season that we experienced in May, leading into that Capricorn new moon that we had back in January. Now, these relationships, right, and I just want to show you the counterparts here because it is having a different impact depending on what you align to right now. We see that a lot of the energy in solitude is working on relationship by becoming very energetically stable within the context of the self, and that ability of effectively finding stability or working through stability right? It's a conversation that says the best thing we can do to find counterpart is focus on our own stability, because then when we come into relationship, we become one another's blessing. These are not individuals that are looking for a relationship to fill a need. Rather, they're answering the energetic call in terms of building into their own sense of stabilization and working and focusing on the journey of counterpart by knowing who the self is. So we see that for those that are more feminine inclined, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to, this is letting go of any feelings around people pleasing or understanding the context by which often when we're too overly focused on people pleasing, we can't find ourselves within the context of ourselves because we become too energetically adaptable. While for those that for more those with masculine, we see that this is more about being able to build energetic sure footing in terms of being able to communicate upon what one's needs are, because it's a healthy manifestation that is outwardly articulated that allows the context by which others feel safe around the self. While for those that are more inclined to non-binary energy, we see that that's a lot of the energy that is potentially working through hermit energy right now, because the Nine of Wands also is very deeply connected to the Hermit card, because this is the conversation, this is the navigation point in recognizing that one does not necessarily need to remain present in any and all context as it relates to conversations, rather the ability to effectively energetically assess the intention of another in having one, that allows one to be able to discern whether a conversation feels like it's healthy or not. Now, all of these relationships that we see that are in solitude right now are building into, right? Slow, steady approaches as it relates to partnership. There's something about this right now that feels very steady, or the ability of effectively taking things one step at a time. I'm not surprised about that. We're moving into a Capricorn new moon. However, it's interesting because I feel like the world relationships, which were effectively the relationships that were coming together between the time, correction, between the time of that new moon in Taurus leading into the leading into the Capricorn new moon that we had in May. The ones that I spoke previously about were the ones that had started from the Taurus new moon cycle into the present. But those relationships are effectively being articulated by an expedience point, something that may feel like it's ramping up or picking up speed right now. Why do we see that there may be more of that alacrity or more of that rushing that's potentially happening in those experiences or circumstances? Because we effectively see that for a lot of those relationships, that ability to be able to build into healthy manifestation goal with someone that is also in energetic alignment to the self, we see that that's a lot of the energy that may be feeling like their manifestations are coming towards them more rapidly, because they're experiencing the joy of doing something in harmony, right? And a lot of hands make the work easier. So there's something about that by which we see that there may be a lot of that, like almost working through. I keep on getting like almost working through an intimacy wound in relationality in terms of how something fast something is happening, but being able to effectively recognize the difference between something that is moving fast because of alignment versus healing from past experiences by which another person was rushing through a process so another person wouldn't notice that they weren't aligned. Well, for those that are in moon relationships, and you'll recall that the moon relationships were effectively coming together between the time of that Capricorn new moon cycle that we experienced in January, leading into the Uranus first going retrograde back in early September. These relationships, I feel, are moving into the space by which they're seeing things very differently. You'll recall that for a lot of these relationships, they had almost let go of the possibility of being in partnership. So the experience of being in a healthy relationship right now may feel a little surreal to them. And navigating that surrealness is effectively one of the things that they're working through, because they're coming into understanding of recognizing, right, how strange it can sometimes feel to come into our manifestation goals, because for a lot of those relationships, having had to go through the same karmic cycle over and over, as it related to individuals trying to articulate that they were the energetic problem in a relationship. What they're really seeing right now is there was a lack of an energetic alignment in some of those partnerships. So finally being in a relationship that feels aligned is effectively changing their own perception as it relates to recontextualizing what occurred in past experiences. So there may be a lot of unpacking that's happening there, but it's scorpionic unpacking, right? I believe we're in a Scorpio. I believe the moon's in Scorpio right now, which would make sense, which is the identification point to unpack something in order to effectively perceive it with a fresh set of present eyes, right? So it's a present awareness that is giving one the ability to effectively recontextualize or reprise. Now, that is where we find all of the energy prior to beginning today's daily collective read. But if you'd like to find that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find it over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find it as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my stack. I would also encourage you to head over to my stack to learn more about our next tarot class, which will be occurring on Thursday, July 17th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the court cards, with the 2 cards in the minor arcana. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied thus far. It's a great time to join, though, because if you wanted to take a little time to bone up on some of those past classes, you've got a few weeks leading into that class. If you become a paid monthly subscriber, you will have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. Now, and as well as a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions they may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of healings, but you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive as well. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also for my students that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute reads, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey, as well as dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. But let me know in the comments how this energy is impacting you personally, because it is going to hit everybody just a little bit differently. That said, if you would like to get on the list for today, the list, as always, is open. As always, it is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private reads on my site. We're also doing a giveaway today. When we get to 50K likes, I'll be gifting a reading back to the collective. So make sure you're tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. And if you're on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, all I need you to do is let me know the date that you were added to the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back as well. Now, if you're joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, welcome. You can also get on our list for today via the tree that has Binks in it in my bio, and your paid membership there entitle you to the same subscriber benefits that I've listed for those who are super fam over on the Clock app. Hope you guys are having an absolutely beautiful day. How are you doing today, user 855? Thank you for joining us. Hi there, Lisa. How you doing? And Ella, thank you for sharing the live. I need to point out, sometimes Scorpio moon cycles can make us feel a little uncomfy, right? It's navigating through uncomfortability. So I'm going to point that out as well. Thank you for those likes, Lisa. I appreciate you. As someone... Oh, thank you for being here and receiving these messages, XC. Hi there, Ivana. Good to see you today. How are you doing today, Dilip? If I'm ever saying your name incorrectly, by all means, please feel free to correct me. And welcome, 3M. I will point out for anybody who is joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, if you continue to post the same message over and over again, you will be reported and blocked. I do not allow anything that doesn't allow for healthy communication in the chat space, or anything that isn't allowing compassion to anyone in the chat space, myself included. How are you doing today, Gracelyn? And sending you so much support, Lynn, on your healing journey. Hi there, Sam. How are you doing today? Welcome, Monique. Thank you for sending me that frog. Welcome, Intruder and Mahesh. Absolutely. Okay. And thank you for those gifts, Ivana. I appreciate you. And Kath, thank you for liking the live. Always appreciate when you guys like the live. Ella, good to see you as well. You can absolutely get on the list today, Kath, from yesterday's highest gifter. Thank you so much. I'm putting you down now. You will be the third person read for. If anybody else would like to get on the list right now, you will be the fourth person read for. Hi there, Kath. How you doing today? Excellent. Rich afternoon, Janae. I've got you on the list. You're the second person read for today. Excellent. As I mentioned, friends, so we are very tight on time today. Hi, Adam. How are you doing? Thank you for those gifts, and thank you for recharging your heart me's. If you're joining us on the Clock app, please make sure that you're recharging your heart me's if you'd like an animal oracle card on top of your one card. I am keeping the list very short today. We are also prioritizing personal readings and one cards. If time is permitting, we will have the daily collective, but we're going to make sure that we're prioritizing what we need to prioritize right now. That said, we are going to move directly into readings. The first person that we are reading for today is Nikki. If Nikki's here, Nikki, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else wants to get on the list, you'll be the fourth person read for. Drakar, you do not need to necessarily get on the list to be able to participate in these readings. The reason that we articulate that these are donation-based readings is for those who might not be able to afford a reading. The way the guides like to work is they often like to send the message that's needed to the individuals that are here. So it's not uncommon for someone to be here and receive a message in another person's reading that they also needed to hear, which is why we perceive this as those who effectively contribute into a reading are effectively donating that reading to the collective. We also offer a free one card. We also offer a free daily collective read each day, typically. Most days of the week. Today, for instance, we are on a bit of a shorter time frame. So we're going to see if we have time for the daily collective. But if not, we're going to be prioritizing personals and one card today. And if you become a paid member, you are also entitled to a free one card each day. I need to point out, Nazke, Yeshua did not ask you to worship them. Yeshua asked you to embody the practices that they themselves were living by. So the death card often indicates transformation cut, but again, one of the things I do in my classes, we offer a monthly class program, is understanding that the cards' meaning change depending on the context of the cards that are beside or before them. Excellent. Thank you for the compliment, Grace. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Absolutely. And welcome, Janam. I hope you're having a beautiful day as well. Hi there, John. Thank you. Thank you, Beneath. Somebody just said I have a dollop of hair, which I've never heard that term before. I'll take it. I like it. Thank you for the compliment, Lily. I hope you're having a beautiful time. Absolutely. Excellent. Grand Rising, Nicole. Good to see you. I figured she was asleep. No, how you doing today, Adam? So good to see you. All right. If Nikki is resting, then we're gonna move to the next person on the list for today, which is Janae. Janae, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you would like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. I need to point out, and I need to stress this. If you would go back into the Bible, I've got two different copies of the Bible here, Naz, right? Yeshua does not say, "Come with me if you want to live," right? But you'll often notice that those that don't necessarily understand or listen to what their teachings were will try to indicate the fact that you have to worship Yahshua. Nothing Yahshua said indicated the fact that you should be worshiping Yahshua. He indicated the fact that you should be honoring each other, giving compassion to one's neighbors, all of the practices that they articulated. So making sure that you're not utilizing their name in terms of condemnation or trying to rebuke others is effectively antithetical to what they were energetically teaching. Absolutely. Let's get to it. How you doing today, Janae? I hope you're having a beautiful day. Grand Rising, Nicole. And Janae, could you let me know if we're doing a general reading or if you have a specific question? And in the meantime, while we wait for Janae's question, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the ram. We will do that again after the next reading. And I'm going to head over to the subscriber only disco channel to see Janae's question. Just a reminder, if you are a super fam or if you are a paid member over on the place where we keep the videos, you have access to our super fam only disco channel where you can post information related to your questions. You can also talk to the collective, and you can also find there in the perks section a special coupon code to our tarot class subscription program. Our next class is going to be on Thursday, July 17th, and we're going to be studying the 2 cards in the minor arcana. I'm going to pull up Janae's question now. Janae, is this inside tea or outside tea? Ooh, we got a dream. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's good to see that you got a bunch of people trying to help you out with this karmic issue. I appreciate someone taking pragmatic approaches to spiritual problems. I appreciate that. And we're very happy to have you here, Janae. What else would you be if not a dreamer, Ricky? Why would you ever want to be anything else? Okay, let's see here. So outside tea, it's out. Excellent. Okay, and you guys know what we do before we get started on, that's the highest compliment you can give me, Janae. Truly, I'm so glad to hear that that anything you're receiving here is helping you on your journey. Before we get started right now, we are going to warm up those intuition. We're not going to warm up the intuition muscles, but we are going to use the dream coconut because it's a dream reading. Okay. Dream coconut. Ooh, I like that one. That was a nice one. Okay. So, a really good friend. So, with just a little bit of context, we have someone who's been having a little bit of issues in the dream space with a karmic. A really good friend of mine checked in on me last night with everything that has transpired over the last week. Sleep with some salt by the head of your bed, I just heard. I see them aiming to tap into your dreams with you being at peace. They're desperate. I just saw you sleeping peacefully and big eyes just staring at you, are smiling at peace without a worry. I see you even smiling in your sleep now. That's beautiful. I also like the fact that you've got friends looking out for you in the dream space. The dream. So I only remember bits of it. Well, that's okay. We can help piece dreams back together here. I only remember bits of it, and hopefully it'll start coming back to me throughout the day. But I dreamt that I was just back to normal doing life. The individual, oh gosh, the karmic was trying to talk to me, but it's like they were in a jail cell, so it was through bars. It's like he made it to my dream, but still they couldn't get any further than that. Don't remember what they were trying to tell me, but it seemed like they were trying to say, help them, and also trying to apologize. Was this after you put the salt down? Because if so, that is wild. If yes, I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. One of the things I like to point out, one of the things that I like to point out when it comes to intuition here is we often talk about the difference between being able to tell the difference between intuition and delusion. And the way you can usually tell the difference between intuition and delusion is delusion leads you to a mirror and intuition leads you to a miracle. So let's just point out the fact that you had a friend that articulated that something was going to energetically occur, and then they told you to put that salt down, and then you had a dream, right? Like confirmation, right? So that's confirmation in relationality to what they were energetically saying. Okay, like that's a good assessment of someone who is giving you sound in information in relationality to what they themselves were potentially picking up. Can I get 4 cards, please, for Janae in relationality to what's going on here? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh man, 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 oh man. Mm-hmm. 4 cards, please. And thank you for being being the first one on the list today. You're actually be getting 5 cards. And 1 more. Oh, that's interesting. You just decided to go transverse, didn't you? Oh, that's so funny. Oh, Lord. Okay. Oh, gosh. Let me get comfortable. I gotta get comfortable for this reading. Okay. All right. Good Lord. Wrong person. Wrong person. Wrong person. Wrong person. Because I gotta tell you, the thing about it is it feels like somebody tried to do something to you that's in their playbook. It feels like somebody that was trying, it feels literally like someone that had full confidence that they had cracked the code on something. Like I literally see, I keep on hearing someone like bragging rights, right? Bragging rights, the person that other people go to it for advice, right? And I see this person being like, I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you what to do that will make you irresistible, right? Like it's giving me, and I like to point that out, that it's like it's silly and it's like and I keep on getting like, and the thing about it is the observation of someone who feels like, and here's the like, never is someone more in danger than when they feel like they're running an energetic strategy on a relationship instead of being fully within one, right? From a spiritual perspective, looking at a relationship strategically is one of the most dark things you possibly can do. Because the thing about it is relationships to spirit are supposed to be sacred places. So how do you think, like, when you recognize that spirit sees relationships as the altar, right? Then what do you think spirit sees in the context of someone who approaches an altar from strategically? How do you think that type of energy How do you think that type of energy appears to spirit? It's not good, right? Because you don't approach an altar strategically. You approach it recognizing and being energetically respective in relationality to what one is effectively trying to create with another. And so I feel like this, like I just keep on seeing, and I also feel like someone didn't realize the spirit team around you, because most of the messages I'm getting right now are coming from your spirit team, because you got a bunch of ancestrals and one really big guide. And the guide I keep on seeing connected to you is observing that they did not know. And it's funny too, because it's not, they're saying they didn't know who they were blessing with. That's the funny part about it. They're saying they didn't know who they were blessing with, is what I keep on hearing. They keep on saying blessing with instead of messing with, because they're saying, like, because I see your guide going, I don't need it. I don't mess. I only bless. They're going, I only bless, they're going, sweetheart, I only bless. I only bless. But the thing is, when you get one of their blessings, what they often, like, I gotta get deeper into this guide. This guide will be like, you want that? Here it is in abundance, right? They're like, they're a capacity. they're a capacity guy. Oh my gosh, they're like, you asked for, they said, yeah, that's what they said they wanted. Yeah. No, I got a truck. No, you said, that's what you said. No, I got trucks here. You said you wanted that. Yeah, I've got, yeah, that's what you asked for, right? Oh, that's not what you wanted, then why'd you ask for it? Like, I literally see your guide saying that to a certain extent. And so I need to point out, they asked for space and now they're behind bars, aren't they? Right? That's what happened. They asked for space and now they're behind bars. Now the guide is literally saying, you've got, what are you talking about? The guide literally put the bars up because they go, you said you wanted space. Right? The guide's going, they're like looking at them and going, it's open season. You go anywhere you want, but you can't come here anymore. Right? They're going, you can't, the guide's literally, the guide put the bars down. It's like, you can't come here anymore. No, you said you wanted space. So space that you shall have. You said that you desired space. So space you shall have in abundance. Space means, right? Literally, I literally see a guide going, you can have anything but this. That's what you said, right? You said you wanted space. So they put an energetic periphery around you. Like the guy did it. And in relationality, and the funny part is the salt didn't put it down. The salt's helping you see it. Right? The salt's just helping you see it tangibly, which is basically how they feel. Like, I can see somebody who's like literally, and the funny part is they can usually, I don't know why, I don't know, I feel like they mess a little with spiritual, don't they? Right? But not for the right reasons, not for the right reasons, not for the right reasons, right? Not for the right reasons, right? Because I can see somebody who's trying to feel into your energy and they're freaking out because they can't find it. They can't find it. And that's of their own doing, is what I keep on seeing. Now, in terms of, and I want to point this out, in terms of you, like the thing about it, in terms of you seeing them in the dream space, I'm just getting that is what, like, that's what the salt was doing. I need to point this out. It's not that the salt did that. It helped you see it more clearly. Because, and I feel like the thing about it is, you know, like, and I just, it's funny too, because most of this reading that I'm getting is from the guide. which is basically saying you don't have to worry about them anymore, right? But that doesn't mean, like, it's saying to me, even, and I feel like even in the context by which the guide was showing you those bars, like, I feel like it was the guide kind of articulating to you, showing you how they feel when they try to have, I feel like they again, like I said, bottom of the deck. I often see this with someone who, like, feel like somebody's like, you can't be, I just keep on hearing, you cannot be unethical and then have access to energy. Like, you'll often, like, those who are like, the thing I want to describe, like, the word I want to describe on it is energetic tweakers, right? Which is somebody who, like, tries to come towards spirituality just because it's like somebody goes, look what I can do. You know what I mean? Like, the fact by which they do something more for the effect than the cause. So I literally see somebody who recognizes, who has, like, some kind of basic, like, the sad part is they've actually got a lot of, like, here's the thing about it. They've got a lot of energetic potential, but given their own more, I keep wondering, given their own morality and like their own moral failings, I'm getting here that there's something energetically, like, there's an energetic block that's there to a certain extent, because it's like, like, the guides often are like, this is why you can't have nice things, right? Like, it's like you can't have nice things if you're not in the space by which you're going to do something with it that isn't for the best reason. And so I literally see somebody who, like, potentially recognizes the fact that they can feel into energy, but if they've been using that to effectively try to create longings in others, right? That's why you see them behind bars, right? Because it's those bars are angelic. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to, if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. I mean, you didn't do that to them. They did that to themselves. I just want to point out. So that, like, it's like, again, and like, that's what's so painful. And that's why the guide shows you all of that in Akashic, right? I feel like the guides were showing you all that in your Akashic to be like, we're trying to show you the full extent on how much this is a them problem, not a you problem. Thank you so much for having this reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. You will be the fourth person read for. I will also stress I'm keeping the list very short today. So if you'd like to get on the list, please, I encourage you to do so sooner rather than later. If you're on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, I just need to know the date that you were added to the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back as well. And if you're joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, you can also get on a list via my tree that has links in it in my bio. You're so welcome, Janae. Sending you so much support on that journey. Absolutely. And the thing about it, like, here's the thing, I would not be surprised if you don't get all of that dream back, because it feels to me like I've got one of your guides, because I'm like, I'm inquiring to your guides what the rest of the dream is, and the guide's basically like, blah, 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 right? They were trying to convince you to go save them, is what I keep on seeing. Which is why, like, if it comes back, you're probably like, that's why I keep on seeing, like, the guys potentially being like, you don't need to hear that or see that, because that's effectively, they're saying things that are in the shape and nature of what you potentially saw was happening in some of those past life snippets that they gave back to you. Hi there, Ruby. Oh, good to see you, dear. Well, at the moment, we've got 2 more people on the list. So we're not going to have a full list today. I'm on for a short period of time. So we'll probably be getting to 1 card shortly. And it's wild too, because your ancestrals were saying that they made an agreement to give them 1 shot in this life to make up something. To, like, because I keep on getting, there's something about this karmic and it being an ancestral wound that, like, the ancestrals connected to this too, were like, you had one shot. And like, that's why I keep on getting that there's a lot of ancestrals that are also working in context of that guide that I'm seeing. Like, they blew it. Yeah, absolutely. Hi there, Adam. Good to see you today. Grand Rise, especially because they knew what you'd been through, is what I keep on hearing your ancestors say. Hi there, Nicole. Good to see you today, dear. Yeah, you've got a huge amount of energy and spirit. Hi there, Christiana. I'm happy to read for you on that. If you'd like to go on the list, list is open. You'll be the third person read for. Grand Rising, Mia. Yes, right after. Yeah. Thank you for the compliment, T. Mm-hmm. No problem. And Kelly, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. I don't mind it. I don't mind being kept busy at all, Janae. Thank you for being here and receiving these messages. How are you doing today, Bridget? As I said, Christiana, the way we have readings here is either you get on the list for a personal reading or you become a super fam, and those who are subscribers get a free 1-card reading each day. But I would ask you not to put the same question over and over again in the chat, because it's not conducive to those who are trying to communicate in the chat space, and it will get you muted. I know. No, not off today. Just on for a short period of time. Hi there, Lucas. How you doing today, dear? Guys, make sure to give Lucas some love. Readers supporting readers. And thank you for sharing and reposting, dear. I appreciate you. Very sacred. Yes. That's a different view, but not good. Yeah, exactly. I know. You told them. Like, you straight up told them. And they didn't. It's saying, I keep on seeing someone say, like they thought you were being facetious. Right? Like I told you, it's that blah, blah, blah. Like that. Like, now they're getting the blah, blah, blah. How are you doing? I would not advise. I know I don't advise anybody to play with Ouija boards. No. Yeah, I can see they bless you so much. How you doing today, dear? Yeah, next read we'll be tapping into that specific guide. That's so right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for confirmation on it. How you doing today, Minnie? Yeah, that helped you to see. Mm-hmm, absolutely. You were in your head slightly. I get it. I mean, like, listen, like, here's the thing about it. That's why the guys won't let you remember the rest of the dream, because they were trying to get in your head. Right? Like, that's why the guys were like, nope. Yeah, you knew it was going to happen. Oh, there you go. Thank you for confirming. Sending you support on that. And Ruiz, thank you for the follow. Thank you as well for receiving these messages, Pishon. If I'm ever saying your name incorrectly, by all means, please feel free to correct me. You're so welcome, Janae. Yeah, I told them. Oh, and you told them. You literally said confirmation that they had one shot. Yeah, you were channeling your ancestors, because they were the ones giving them the one shot, because they knew that energy. They knew that energy. Yeah, you stuck to it. He did. He really did. There's no rest. I know. But there's the thing, like honestly, that's the thing about it. Like, that's like literally somebody gave another, like someone gave someone, like your ancestors somehow knew karmically that this was between you both. They allowed this person towards you to see what they would do. And they just repeated a karmic cycle. And that's why the guides are like, no. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Melissa, for sending the first gift you've ever sent. I appreciate you. All right, let's get to it. Oh, that's very kind of you to say, Speedy. Have a great day, DT. How you doing today, Blue? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I have no idea what you're talking about, Make Straight. Mm-hmm. Listen, I got a strict rule here, Draka. We don't talk about the ubiquitous they. We're very clear in terms of who we're talking about, because when we start talking about the ubiquitous they, we're often bringing in a fear-based narrative. So make sure that we're being clear with our words in relationality to who the they is that we're speaking towards. Hi there, Kleptic. Hi there, Tuzo. That's very kind of you to say, Speedy. Excellent. I'll take a fluffy storm cloud. All right, thank you for the compliment, Jarvis. I appreciate it as well, Layla. All right, let's continue right now. I know, I do too. I listen, it doesn't happen with everybody. Sometimes there's like some individuals have a very strong protective ancestral energy. Others it can be more complicated, but in that circumstance, I see someone with like a very strong ancestral team looking out for them. All right, we're going to continue right now. The next person we're reading for is, I'm looking for Nikki. If Nikki is still not here, the next person we're reading for today is Kath. Kath, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading. Whoa, really? Oh my gosh. All right. There's so many cards, Kath. Did you see how many cards just flew out? I was like, oh good, one card, and then the rest of them came out. So this is going to take a minute, but before we get started, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. If you want to get on the list right now, it's an absolutely lovely time to get on the list. You will be the second person read for. 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers, or for those who are paid members on the place where we keep the video. I've got the Animal Oracle card here. Before we continue, we're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the fire dragon. We'll do that again after the next reading. No, I think it's wonderful that you remember your dreams, Layla. We do dream interpretations here. If there's ever a dream that you would like interpreted, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber-only Disco channel in the appropriate channels. This is for love. This is for relationship. Thank you so much. All right, and I'm going to pin up Kath here. Guys, make sure to give Kath some love. They're all transverse. So we got to talk a little bit about it right now, Kath. We do have the Queen of Wands in its transverse, which I like to see. With the 9 of Pentacles in its transverse, the Judgment card in its transverse, the Hermit card in its transverse, the 5 of Cups in its upright transverse. Don't let anyone try to undersell your energy right now. I feel like I see some kind of situation by which another person is trying to make you feel replaceable. You're not. You're not replaceable. I don't know why they're trying to convince you you are, but you're not. Specifically because I feel like, I don't know why, I've got some kind of hybrid energy around you, which means that you're very good at doing different things, and the energy around you is too niche. There's nobody that is as hybrid as you are, which is the observation that if someone were trying to replace you, they would need to bring on multiple people to do all the different things that you're doing, is what I keep on getting. And it's funny too, because I keep on getting hybrid is too niche, which is the observation of someone. Like I literally see a situation being like, I see somebody trying to explain to someone and being like, we would not be able to find someone like them again. We would not be able to find someone like them again, because I see the fact that you're doing the work of many. And I think that that's really, I feel like there's something about that you have to kind of weigh very significantly, right? Because it's not even the fact that somebody could replace you. I keep on hearing they need many replacements to be able to do something that I see that you just do intuitively. You know, there you are doing something as natural as breathing. And I see another person identifying and recognizing the quality and condition by which they energetically desperately need you. So I think that there's something really important about that, because I just keep on getting the fact that there's something about a circumstance or situation um, that you yourself are working through that is helping another person identify. um, I think it's interesting because I feel like, I don't know why, it feels like I feel like the conversation that you need to have is asking for some kind of assistance or getting someone to energetically assist you with something. Because that's the only thing I keep on seeing right now as it relates to your energy. It feels too spread. It feels spread out too thinly, which isn't giving you the ability to energetically do something in a bigger way. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about potentially making a plan and saying to somebody like, look, this is what I could do. And this is what I could do to change. Like, this is what I could do with what I have at the moment. And this is what I could do if I had the resources. This is what I would do if I had the ability to effectively change or amend something. I think that that's really important because I feel, I don't know why, but I feel like there's some kind of energy around career right now where there's a little bit of transition. There's some kind of transitional quality there. So if things are in the process of changing, now is the time to have those conversations, right? Now, as it relates to relationship, just bear with me a moment. Okay, 4 cards, please. I got them here. Yeah, this is about the same thing. Don't you are not another person's emergency brake. And that's coming directly from a divine counterpart energy. You are not another person's emergency brake. You are not another person. If someone's tired of a relationship, break glass is what I keep on getting. And that's when you keep on saying, why is this person continue to talk to you? This is why I'm seeing it, right? Somebody who effectively recognizes, like someone who just every time I see you and I see connection to you with this person, I see somebody who sees you as like break glass, fine china, the observation that they know exactly, right? Like they know exactly what their plan is to exit a relationship and you're involved in it. Like I see somebody who sees you as their exit strategy. And I need to point out, an exit strategy is rarely a life path. An exit strategy is rarely a life path. And if they keep on trying to reach out, if they keep on desperately trying to build a connection with you or desperately saying that they want to meet you, this is why. Especially if it doesn't make sense, and especially if they seem really, really eager for no apparent reason, right? None of this, and I'm going to tell you right now, none of this, I need to talk to you right now kind of thing, because it just says to me, it literally feels like somebody who wants to sit down with you for a meal and say, can you believe it? And you're gonna say what? And be like, we're over. And be like, why are over? And they're gonna be like, because of this. And you're gonna be like, oh, because you just orchestrated doing the one thing that someone told you never to do, because you knew that it would be the tipping point in being able to energetically end something. So if they're being persistent for no apparent reason, and it feels like that persistence is getting more heated, or there's some kind of like emergency to it, remember that's the sound of someone trying to orchestrate their relationship falling apart by letting you, like I told you, don't let someone let you be the pin in the relationship that they're ending, which is somebody who already sees, like someone who's effectively pushed a relationship so far on the brink by doing things that are awful that they want to be able to go, that small thing that broke it, it would never have been that small thing. It would, they recognize that you would be a pinnacle point. right? A pinnacle point. I keep on hearing a pinnacle point on a tortured painting they've been making. So a pinnacle point on a tortured painting that they've been making. So something by which they've been like energetically torturing their counterpart, right? By doing things that are more and more deplorable. And the thing about it is I just keep on seeing that you would be the pinnacle in that because it would be harmless, right? It would to everybody else, it would seem absolutely energetically harmless, but to them and counterpart, it would be loaded with meaning is what I keep on seeing. So just again, every time I read for that, it seems like it gets more intense. So I would say if they feel like you're stepping backwards and they're getting more intense, step back even further is what I keep on seeing. Don't let somebody say they want to drop something off to you. Don't say that they have something that they want to give you. Don't let them say that they have something that they want to return back to you. Because I keep on seeing it does feel like something about them trying to claim that they want to return something back to you as well. So let that also be your confirmation. I hear all of this coming from the divine counterpart. So it does feel like there's something here that's very karmic. Because typically when a divine counterpart knows what's happening, it's something about a repeated past life karmic situation that you're in the process of energetically overcoming. Bottom of the deck on this reading, yeah, the Magician energy. This is a very important time for you right now. This is a very important time for you. But it's requiring you to have to take very different directions as it relates to career and love. For career, I would say push things right now. Push things in the best way possible because something about you pushing is giving you more bandwidth. So if you're pushing to get more bandwidth, now is a good time to push for bandwidth, which is saying this is something that would really help me be able to do something even better. While for those for relationship, the exact opposite right now. The exact opposite in relationality to saying if someone's pushing you, you step back. Your divine counterpart will never push you as it relates to insisting that they need to see you. And I keep on hearing, like, especially if they're saying something along the lines of, why won't you let me be friends with you? Right? There's nothing friendly about another person insisting that they want friendship from us. Often it's an observation and being, you have like almost a space where you say like, we are friends, and being like, no, I want to be friends, and being like, but we are friends. And someone being like, I want to be friends. Clearly they're utilizing friends. Like clearly their terminology of friends is very different than what your terminology is. So don't let them, I keep wondering, don't let them keep on trying, don't let them try to crank the heat on friendship. And if they keep on trying to crank the heat on friendship, right? Step away from the stove. Right? If they keep on trying to crank the heat on that friendship, you step away from the stove and you turn back and you don't, I keep wondering, you don't owe them. Like, and here's the thing about it. I think that you dictating and saying, right, we can never be friends. There would always be something, there would always be some kind of relationship between us. If that sends them away, then you understand the full shape of the fact that they've been trying to articulate to another person that something's innocuous, and you articulating and stating like, let's be clear. I don't think, like, I literally see a situation by which all you have to say to someone is, let's be clear. I don't see any situation that we would be together and simply be platonic. If that makes that energy disappear, that's your confirmation. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list, you will be the next person read for. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing a giveaway when we get to 50K likes today, friends. We're already at 13K, so make sure you're tapping that screen if you're joining us on the clock app. We'll get to 50K in no time. And I'm just going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was giving that reading. How you doing today, Anna? Hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for the compliment, Eddie. Very aware that Yeshua loves us, Emma. All right. How you doing today, Stephen? Where were we? You're so welcome, Kath. You're so welcome, Kath. I feel like they really needed to hear this. I'm so glad to hear that. Good to hear that. Yeah, they're looking for you even when you're on leave. Like, that's what I mean in terms of you being energetically irreplaceable. I feel like that spread out. Yes, there will be a transition soon related to some project or a new project. Thank you as well, Chasing, for receiving that message. Yeah, still related to that persistent one who's trying to reconnect. Like, this is why there's nothing harmless about it. Yeah, but here's the thing about it. Like, again, if it's friendship, why are they acting so? If it's friendship they want, then what's all this desperation, right? What's all this desperation if not orchestration? What's all this desperation if not orchestration? He has been trying to reach out to you about your car's extended warranty. Oh, you had a dream that he's giving something to you and you can't recall, but it looks like a chocolate or energy bar. Interesting. Again, it says to me like it's again, it's the sentiment, right? And that's the thing about it. It's the sentiment that they say is sweet, but another person understands is deeper. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Chasing, for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you share the live. Yeah, he questioned you like we're just friends. Exactly. And thank you, Angel, for the follow. Exactly. I feel like, hold on a minute. I feel like he wants more than being friends. He does. Yeah, he doesn't know what he wants. Hi there, Esteban. How you doing today? So Chasing, we have a tight time limit today. So we're prioritizing personals and one cards, and time permitting, we'll see if we have time to do we'll see if we're going to have time to do a collective. Hi there. Looking, oh, perfect timing, Nikki. Welcome. You're next on the list. Excellent. And how you doing today, Stephen? So again, reminder, if anybody wants to get on the list today, the list is open. You'll be the second person read for. 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a total. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Binks in my Lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. For those who are interested, we read for here. Highest priority messages from spirit, life path, angelic, dream interpretation, past life, mediumship, love readings, pet readings, animal spirit guide readings, akashic, mind, body, spirit, love, aura, symbol, and signal decoding. If you have information that you feel is necessary or relevant for the purposes of our reads, you can include it in the notes when you send the donation. You can also post it in our subscriber only disco channels in the appropriate channels. Esteban, thank you for becoming a super fan, dear. I appreciate you. And Nikki, you were forgot. Yeah, you're next. So perfect timing. Can you let me know if we're doing a general or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? Oh, I appreciate you renewing, Esteban. Are my private readings the same as my live? Not necessarily. It depends on the reading that you have. So for instance, if you sign up for mentorship, they usually get pretty deep, because when we start doing mentorship reads, we usually start diving into the Akashic, and we start trying to read into the deeper implications on what we've been seeing in the reads. So the mentorships are often helping one get a really deep-seated understanding as it relates to the conditions of one's own life path, and also what's happening on a spiritual level. In terms of the private readings, and you can go for those are more time-based. So you can have a one-off private where we can explore love or any area that you yourself might be more invested in reading for. I like, the thing about it, you probably noticed there are certain things that I choose not to read for here. It's also one of the reasons I keep books, right? Sometimes I receive information from your guides that's more personal. It's more on a need to know basis. So often when we're in a private, I'll start reaching into that book and giving you some of the information that's there that I didn't necessarily feel as comfortable or inclined to articulate in a public environment. Yeah, you know, and I got to point out, Kath, every time I go to look over there, it looks really dark. Like, I don't know. I feel like I see somebody that's trying to lighten the mood, but it's looking real dark over there. Hi there, Tracy. As a super fam, you're always entitled to a free one card each day. We're just not at the free one card point yet in the reads. So we're going to be on a little bit shorter time today. So I've got another personal to do. And if anybody else has a personal reading, but once we do so, we're going to be starting one cards in probably the next 15 to 20 minutes. If you want to stick around for your one card. Absolutely. You're so welcome. Hello there. How are you doing today, Bishawa? How are you doing today, Tracy? Good to see you. Welcome from Kenya, Edward. All right, let's get to it. We're now reading right now for Nikki. Nikki, if you could let us know if we're doing a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. I got you, dear. I see your question. And before we continue right now, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the Animal Oracle card here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Bull. Thank you for participating. We'll do it again after the next reading. Nikki, you got to pick one. You too, Esteban. Can't be just dropping a bunch of different animals willy-nilly. I know. With you, it's always the bull or the frog, man. All right, I'm going to pull up Nikki's question here. Can we do a past life, I guess? I'm trying to move past the visage issue. I got you. Yeah. Could I get... Oh, yeah, that's not my yawn. All right, 4 cards. You're not going to like my answer here. You're not going to like my answer. Which is like, you know, I mean, you got a guide that says, like, you know what to do about that visage issue, right? You know what you got to do when you got a visage issue, right? You got to own it. You got to own it. What else can you do with a visage issue? You know? It's funny too, because I see a past life by which it's funny. I see a past life where you had a very robust mask collection. You know? Like, I see a past life where you just had a very, very robust mask collection. And the thing is, you know, I think it's important too that, like, the thing we see with this bull is the fact that the bull isn't facing anyone, you know? And the thing is, like, but I want to point out too, I think there's something really curious about this, because what we almost see when we look at this is, what is that bull doing with their face? They're scaring off those birds, right? Which is like, and it kind of like, it feels very apropos to what we're energetically identifying in relationality to the work that I see that you're having to do here. Because, you know, I feel like you often, like, you know, one of the things that often happens when you're dealing with visage issues is that others feel self-satisfied when they're able to effectively predict, right, something that's energetically occurring, right? So I feel like what often happens here is I see situations by which others like, and this often what happens with visage issues, others feel inclined to tell you what others are thinking, right? And the thing about it is when others are thinking things, those are their thoughts. They're not your thoughts, right? And I feel like somebody being overly protective of you because they say, I know what they're thinking. What does that have to do with you? Right? What is another person thinking? What does another person's thinking have to do with us if they're not thinking good thoughts? Right? I feel like we need to write that down. Like, what does another person's thinking have to do with us if they're not thinking good thoughts? Which is effectively like literally the space by which another person says, like, oh, like, you can't do that, right? I mean, like, why can't I do that? Because you know what they're going to think about that, right? And so the limit, like the space by which another person tries to limit your action because they're more concerned with another person's faulty point of view than defending you. Because that's the thing about it, right? we don't support unhealthy narratives. We don't support unhealthy narratives. And all that happens, right? All that happens, and another person says, well, you know what they're going to think if you do that, right? Be like, let them think that then, right? Because here's the thing, right? You know, like, let them think that, because if it isn't the thought that if that's a thought, right? If that's a thought that stops them, if that's a thought that limits them, if that's a thought that effectively blocks them from doing something, then the only sound you should hear is good riddance, right? Because if it's not a good thought in the first place, then they're going to energetically then let, like, let them think it regardless. And so I feel like that's what I mean in terms of a guide that's just like saying, like, own it, right? When someone goes, oh, you know what they'll think, and be like, good, that's fine. Let them stew in that bad thought, right? Let them stew in that bad thought until they recognize how ridiculous they're being. Because the thing about it is, I feel like that's a hard part about it. It feels like there's someone around you that hasn't healed their people pleasing, right? And someone who hasn't healed their people pleasing allows for atrocities to happen, right? Because what, like, atrocity is happening and someone going, but I just didn't want to make a fuss, right? Oh, that's good. Guys, listen, guys, this is, like, here, right here. No, this is the perpetrator. Yeah, guys, this is the perpetrator. No, you guys, you don't understand. No, I know they perpetrated it, but you have to understand, they didn't want to make a fuss. Yeah, they didn't want to make a fuss. You know? They don't, when was the last time you saw a medal, right? When was the last time you saw a medal on it that said they didn't want to make a fuss on it? Right? Like, where's the medal? Right? Where's the they didn't want to make a fuss medal? Right? Miscongeniality over here. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, miscongeniality right here. They didn't want to make a fuss. Yes, a round of applause. And that's the problem with the visage issue, right? Because it literally, like, the problem is, it's like you and another person are having a completely different conversation, which is you being like, them being like, but if you do that, they might think badly of you because they're awful, right? Like, but like literally, right? Like, but if you do that, they might think badly of you because they're awful, right? And you having to be that, be like, if they're awful, let them reveal their awfulness because that's not okay, right? Let the awful be awful. Like let the awful be awful. Because that is you just basically having, and I feel like that's the hard thing about it. Like this is why you and them can't ever see the right way, right? Someone someone trying to maintain the status quo, right, is never going to defend the odd man out, right? Even if they're right, right? So I feel like that's really important because I feel like that is the conversation that you need to have with someone, and it does feel very karmic. You've been arguing with them on this for a long time. I almost feel like I feel like there's some kind of contra moment that you're going through right now karmically, which is the possibility that you used to raise someone who's currently raising you. And that can be very complicated, right? Because it's a space by which, like, if you're going through like a karmic contra moment where you're raising someone who used to raise you, right? It can often be the space by which you have to look, like when you look at someone who's like a grown, like you're being a child, you're thinking of this in a very you're being very childish about this, right? So I feel like the message I'm getting as we leave this reading is make sure that you're having a conversation about thinking better thoughts, right? And thinking better thoughts literally means giving someone the benefit of the doubt. Because and I said, like, because I feel like you're entering some kind of cyclical argument with someone in terms of them being like, if you do that, I can tell you what they're thinking and what they're gonna do, and being like, you saying to someone, I don't care if they think that, because they should never, that thought is awful, right? Like you shouldn't condone a thought that is awful, which is that the minute that another person can conceive that another person is thinking awfully, then you have to say, like, why are you even condoning that person, right? Like when you should be telling them, right? You shouldn't be condoning someone thinking awful thought. They should be dispelling, right? They should be dispelling on your behalf. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, Nikki. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my subscribers. Links in my bio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I don't read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing a giveaway when we get to 50K likes. We're already at 16.5K, so make sure you're tapping that screen, and we will get to 50K in no time. I'm going to take a few minutes to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Yeah, the bull comes up a lot when I'm reading for Nikki, but I understand why. A visage issue, Adina. So one of the things that we've been reading for with Nikki is that in a past life, she was in an experience where her face was highly recognizable, and it was restricting her ability to move freely. And it's interesting because she's having kind of like an opposite visage issue. That it's like a visage issue that's followed her into this life, where she potentially looks very similar to that person that she used to be, but also the fact that others have preconceptions about her based upon what she looks like. I hope that helps. Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious where Saturn is in your chart too. It's in Aries. That makes so much sense. That's so true, actually. You know who the person is I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. What does another person's thinking have to do it with us if they're bad thoughts? Thank you for also receiving this message, Bridget. She's fed this issue. I'm just realizing it. Yeah, and that's the thing about it, right? They used to have a dispeller, right? Like that's the thing. They've lost their. I keep on hearing no. Now this is your ancestor saying they lost their propeller. I was their dispeller, right? They've lost their propeller. I was their dispeller, which is the fact that they never had to worry about dispelling because another person said, "Put me on the phone. I'll dispel that real quick." Yeah. Exactly. Sounds like a them problem. Guys, make sure to give Adina some love. Had a beautiful podcast with Adina a bit ago. You can find it over on their page and over on my stack. It makes me wonder how different it would be. No, that's what they just weighed in on it. That's what they were saying. They lost their propeller. I was their dispeller. Yeah, that's him talking. Thank you for confirming. Oh, you were saying that last night. That's them right there for sure. And some of them, they're very judgmental, sending you support. Absolutely. Sending you so much support on that journey, dear. Right? I don't care. I need to step into that space. You're so welcome. It was very helpful. It's not, it doesn't feel to me like it's not me. Listen, don't misunderstand me. I wasn't saying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I feel like I'm saying that they need to tell someone else to give other people the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Hi there, geezer. That's so funny. I was just thinking about a time. Oh, really? They threw a TV off a boat. Thank you for confirming. They didn't care at all. Wow, that's amazing. All right, my friends, the list is now open. If you would like to get on the list, I probably got room on the list for 1 or 2 more readings today. But while we wait to see if anybody else would like to get on the list, we are going to get started on free 1-card readings for those who are super fam or for those who are paid members over on the place where we keep the videos. So if you are super fam or if you are a paid member on the place where you keep the videos, just go ahead and put your question in the comments. I'll be happy to draw a card for you. If you would like to get on the list right now, you will be the next person read for. 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Yeah, it was interesting too, because even though I was seeing a propeller, I kept on seeing a boat. They were actually showing me a spoiler, but it's funny because I don't even know what a spoiler looks like. But like they said, like they kept on saying, blame me for spoiling it, is what I keep on hearing, right? Like it was somebody who kept on putting themselves before things and saying, like, you can tell them I was the one that spoiled it, is what I keep on hearing. They were like, I'm the spoil. They were like, I was their spoiler, which is almost like somebody who gave someone like carte blanche permission to like throw them under the bus when it came to disappointing another person. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's a great movie. 1 card highest regarding them for Ella. Wow. They regret something big time. They can't believe that was the last time. You know, that's the sound of someone taking someone for granted, right? The sound of someone taking someone for granted, right? If I'd known that was the last time, I wouldn't have said that. Yeah, that's why we're not flippant with our words, you know? I feel like somebody underestimated um your presence of mind in terms of like what you would and would not be available for, you know? I keep on hearing someone say best of their kind, one of a kind, you know? Like they mistook you for somebody else that would put up with something. Hmm. One card, highest party for Bridget, please. Tracy, you can now ask your one card, dear, if you're still available. Knight of Cups in its reversal. I see somebody who literally feels like I literally see somebody who is like I see somebody literally saying either I'm spiritual or I'm going crazy. Like I see some. Here's the thing about it. My favorite spiritual path are those that are not eager to find one, right? I see a guide going, I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty, and someone is like they just keep on negating it. They're like, nope, nope. Like they're nope. It's my absolute favorite. I'm sorry. I know it shouldn't be my favorite, but I always see it from the perspective of spirit, which is like, you know, they find it very funny. Like I feel like I see somebody who swore off spirituality a long time ago, and I just keep on seeing like a guide going like, never say never. It's just you and me now. One card, highest priority for Nikki. Like here's the thing, you're being the mature one, right? That's the funny thing about it. Mature energy, old soul energy could not give less of a fig what other people think about things if their thoughts are awful. Because you know why? Someone deep in their ego has nutty thought, like absolutely. You ever seen someone deep in their ego? You ever see the thoughts that live in someone? It's like who's deep. It's like it's recluse energy, you know. And that's the thing about it. Like egoic thoughts are reclusive thoughts because they're often like, you know what I mean? It's like it's all pitchforks in there. Yeah, look at that. You know, it's like like the life changing power of having someone of going to someone reclusive and telling them they're being absolutely ridiculous. You know, everybody needs one. The more reclusive you are, the more you need somebody to be like, you got it, get out here this minute. You know, because it feels like somebody who's like built a reclusive wall like world around themselves. And the thing about it is reclusive energy literally entertains the most bonkers thoughts you can possibly think of, right? Because they're like they need to start talking to more people. Like when was the last time that you talked to somebody? Like it's like it says to me like, like it's like the stories that one will create so that one doesn't have to talk to a stranger, right? The wild stories that one will create in one's head, all to avoid having to talk to it, like all to avoid having to make a friend, you know? Janae, one card, highest priority, please. Two cards coming out. It's interesting. This is coming from your divine counterpart. And it's funny too, because the divine counterpart's kind of looking at something, being like, do you see what I've been dealing with? How can I get a word in edgewise? Like I keep on hearing like I can't get a word in edgewise with you if you're in active combat with this karmic all the time. Is what I keep. There's the salt. I found the salt. What is that? All I'm hearing from your divine counterpart, can't get a word in edgewise. If you're in active combat, how can I have a conversation with someone in active combat? If you're too busy, if you're too busy, like I keep on hearing somebody say, do you want to battle or do you want to go out to dinner? Like, do you want to battle or do you want to go out to dinner? The divine counterpart doesn't want to fight you; they want to feed you. Is what I keep on getting. They might do something related. They might have some connection to cooking or like deep, like I just keep on hearing that. Interesting. That was so true. That was him. The live glitch for you too. Interesting. Yeah, it's weird. The word that came through that they wanted me to share with you, Nikki, was hog. I don't know what that means, but that was one that they asked me to articulate upon. Hi there. I got you, Tracy. Would like to know how work looks over the next few months, please. One card for Tracy, please. Career. Profession, please. Healing. You're going through the worst of it right now. I know it feels bad. Yeah, it's got to, like, it's like, I feel like this is the hardest part on something. So if something feels desperate right now, right? The desperate moment often feels like a fresh start. So just kind of like, just give yourself a minute to kind of move through something, because I do feel like it's going to get energetically easier, but I do understand why it could be feeling pretty heated, because I see, I don't know why it feels like there's some energy around you in like active combat for something is what I'm getting, you know? Sending you support on that journey, Tracy. It glitched for you too? Oh, wow. I didn't see the glitch. That's interesting. Hi there, Bolton. So we're doing, we're currently doing free one card readings for Superfam and paid members over on the place where we keep the videos. But if you'd like to get a personal reading right now, like it's 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of $23 or more for my Superfam or for my paid members. You're so welcome, Tracy. Just keep, I keep wondering, like, just keep your head down. The only way out is through, and don't get involved in others' petty squabbles. I mean, unless there's something, like, again, unless there's a standard, right? No, he should, none of this he said, she said, they said nonsense. Okay? Absolutely. Destiny. These are one cards for those who are paid subscribers. So if you'd like to become a super fan, I'm happy to draw a card for you. Excellent. Oh, and it looks like you did. I'm just it didn't change the icon. Thank you for becoming a super fan, dear. Dinner, please. Exactly. Yeah, just reading over. You both got the same bottom of the deck and animal spirit. That is wild. Have to ponder that one. It's weird though. I have to point out, you know, like, this is going to sound a little bit interesting, but Nikki, there were periods between the letters of that word, and I almost wonder if it was hand of God, you know, because they were saying it, like they were saying it as they were putting their hand to their chest. Let me just write that down, because it feels very relevant. Yeah. Like, it's interesting too, because I keep on going hand to God. They're like, no, hand of God. Is what they keep on going. Interesting. And thank you, Valentine, for the follow. And thank you for helping my community to tear up, Bolton. I appreciate you. I got you. All right, let me go back to Destiny. One card. Love for Kavi, please. You're welcome, Tracy. Thank you for also receiving that message, Jack. Love isn't going to fight with you like that. Love is not going to put you down. They're going to be too busy raising the roof on you. I don't know who this is that you're healing from that used to say, I'm telling you this for your own good. There was nothing good about it. Right? When somebody is to say, I'm telling you this for your own good, then you have to say to them, show me why saying that to me was good in any way, shape, or fashion. Right? Like, especially, I just keep wondering, like someone saying, I'm saying this for your own good, be like, explain the good in it. And if they go silent, then it's not for your good that they're saying it. Right? I just keep on hearing the same thing. I'm saying this to your own good. You just have to immediately launch back and say, explain the good in that. Explain how saying that to me helps me. Right? Thank you for also receiving that message, Jack. And make sure that you don't slap back, because it feels like somebody who's like trying to get you to respond in equal measure so that they can be the hurt one. Right? Don't lash out. Call attention to. Trishina, good to see you today. One card. It has to do with your Venus placements. You're actively healing your Venus placements. You know, I feel like this is a good energy. Like, I want you really prioritizing self-care right now. You know? And it's interesting too, the world comes through, like it says, especially if there's others that see you as a role model, right? Your ability to apply that care to your person helps another person know it's okay to do so too. Right? Make sure that you're helping another person know that it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to keep a healthy pace. None of this work. Yeah, Bolton. if you go to my tree with Binks in it, my Lio and my profile, you'll see different methods to be able to send a donation if you'd like to come on the list, dear. Only way out is through. Tap to claim chasing. How you doing today, CT? And thank you for becoming the 98th member of my fan club, Bolton. I appreciate you. So you can ask a 1 card now, Bolton, if you'd like to ask. But if you'd like a full reading, you can now get 4 cards for 23. Ava, 1 card on Soul Fam. Call a meeting. Call a meeting by being in your energy. Right? Like it says to me, there's something that you're also healing your Venus placements right now, because it feels to me like you're finding your presence, right? And when you find your presence, others can find you. Animal Oracle. Yeah, look at that. That's you, right? This is your card right now in terms of like how to call the soul family, right? What do they say? Right? Sweet. Right? How do they call it? Sweet. So focusing on being in your bliss that calls your soul family to you. Write that down. It's the same bee energy that I was seeing the other day. Sweet. Right? Sweet. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the help, Lisa. I appreciate you. Hi there, Stella. Did you get on the list? Perfect. You'll be the next person read for. And friends, please pause. We've got another person on the list for today. Stella, could you let me know if we're doing a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? How are you doing today, Megan? Welcome. All right. And just a reminder for those who have just become a super fam or a paid member, welcome. I would like you to encourage you to join our super fam only disco channel. If you message me directly from this live with a disco gift, I will send you an invite to our disco channel. You can introduce yourself to the collective there, and you'll also find in the perk section a special coupon code that will give you a discount to our tarot class subscription program. Our next class is going to be held on Thursday, July 17th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the 2 cards of the minor arcana. Got you. I see it, Stell. And before we continue, let's warm up those intuition muscles with the intuition check. All right, we're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the bear. We'll do that again after the next reading. Lisa, let me just scroll back to see if I can find your other messages. I got it, Lisa. Before we start with Stella's reading, 1 card on that. That is not 1 card. Okay. That's why. I got you, dear. Breathing exercises. Right? You have to replicate the breath. You don't need to be inhaling something to replicate the breath. You are giving yourself permission to slow down your breathing. So, breathing exercises. Animal oracle. 1 long, like 1 long breath, hold, breathe out. Lots of breath breaks. Especially when you're feeling stressed. I didn't see your 1 card come through, Alexandra. I'll get you as soon as we finish this reading. Yeah, I'm looking back and I didn't see it come through. Wait, I do see it. Okay. All right. No problem, dear. Can I please get 4 cards? Yeah, 4 cards, please. Just bear with me. I mean, it's interesting because the truth of the matter is you ask for an angelic reading on someone that has no contact with their angelic. You know? They used to. Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting an angelic that's articulating that they haven't spoken to them in a long time. They can only watch from the sidelines. You know? They're waiting to, like, I need to point out, sometimes I see angelics, like when we say angelics are waiting in the wings, there's some of our angelics wait in the wings until we transition so they can finally have a conversation with us, is what I keep on seeing. Because you have to understand, when you're not doing right, how do you think the angelics appear to you? Right? How do you think a protector appears to you when you don't think you're doing right? So it's like, it's not only the fact that the angelic is articulating about the fact that they can't communicate with them, but the fact is that this person is terrified of them. Because, like, I keep on getting, like, they're saying, like, the chill that they get down their spine is them, right? Reminding them that they've seen everything. How do you think it feels when you, how does it feel, how do you think it feels, right? When you're not doing right and there's an energy, right? There's an energy around you, right? There's an energy around you that sees everything. How do you think that feels? And so I feel like I see somebody that's articulating upon the fact that it's a sad state of it's a sad state of affairs. It's a sad state of affairs, and they put themselves in it. You know. And even now, like, I want to point out, you know, and here's the thing about it, like, and this is why I see somebody. Remember how I said that opportunities to do better exist all around us? Um, I see some kind of circumstance or situation wherein even now there's an opportunity has presented itself for an individual to take a better path. Like, I literally see a circumstance or situation by which an angelic is potentially thanking you because in a way you've given someone a golden opportunity to redeem themselves, is what I'm getting. In the fact that they brought honesty to a situation that hasn't had an honesty in it in a very long time. But that's why I see somebody even now, right? And I want to describe this. I feel like I see someone's angelic who's watching a situation very carefully. Because do you remember when I said that another person kind of felt like they had a forced honesty from someone? I almost feel like I see someone who's like, this could be a new beginning between you and me, right? Like I literally see a counterpart around them that to a certain extent is feeling relief, right? They're feeling relief that the air is finally clear between them, right? Like they're it's like to them they feel like the air is finally clear between them, and they feel relieved. And meanwhile this person is preparing to leave, right? Like that is the saddest thing that I see the angelic is going through, right? Like one person is absolutely relieved because they're saying, you know, the on the other side of this, you know, we can finally have honesty, which is true. But because I told you, because this person, it's too hard for this person to be vulnerable, right? I see somebody, like literally one person saying, I'm relieved the air is finally clear between us, and another person's going, and this is where I leave you, right? Because they're not, like, you can't be, you need to have honesty in order to effectively have the healthy relationship. So I literally see somebody, like I literally see an angelic that's watching a tragic situation, because another person like is literally seeing this as finally a new page that's going to allow them to have a new beginning with someone, whereas this person is potentially looking at it in the opposite way, right? They're potentially preparing for an ending because they can't navigate a relationship that's built in honesty. Yeah, especially with the Page of Wands, you know. And it's interesting too, because here's the thing about it. I feel like the angelic is thanking you in some way, because here's the thing about, even in this a blessing, right? The fact that like there's an opportunity here for someone to live a more honest existence, you know, like literally, like this is often the time period by which the angelics are waiting, right? Like this is literally, like I see the angelic looking at a situation being like, everything could change based on the moment that you inadvertently created, but they need to step into it, right? Like they would have to be ready, like they would have to be ready to embrace, right? They would have to be ready to embrace that change. So I almost see an angelic that's holding their breath to a certain extent, um, because they can't reach them. They can't reach them until they make that choice. But they can see them, like they can see, like they can see the possibility by which they might be able to come close to them again. And they're saying that has a large part to do, that has like, and they're thanking you because they're saying that that's the impact you've had, right? Like you've given them it's any, I keep wondering that this is them. This is their, that choice is on them. And the fact that they even have that choice to begin with, they're saying, is in no small part a result of the work that you've applied towards something. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. The list is closed, but if you want to get on the list for tomorrow, you will be the first person read for. You'll also have an additional card in your reading. You'll also have first priority, which means you'll be read for before we start the daily collective. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as it was reading. You're so welcome, dear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's not the fact that the angelics don't leave, but they can't reach them. You know? Like, angelics can't go certain place. Angelics are like, I can't go there. Mm-hmm. Thank you for also receiving this message, Damien. Yeah. All you do is ask your, oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Bolton. All you do is ask your question. I'll be happy to draw a card for you. Thank you guys for helping each other with it. Yep. Hi there, Ivana. Oh my God, are you kidding? Are you serious? That's wild, Ivana. Wow, thank you for letting me know. That is too wild. Thank you for the confirmation. Yep, we're doing one cards right now, Ruby. Excellent. Yep. And thank you so much. So if anybody else has one card, so they haven't had their card pulled yet, you can go ahead and put your question in the comments. That is also for those who are joining us over on the place where we keep the videos. Okay. Just bear with me a moment. Mm-hmm. Highest priority for Alexandra, please. Highest priority for Alexandra. Yeah, I feel like there's something about you being in energetic proximity to the energy I've been reading for. Giving someone the benefit of the doubt, right? Because I feel like I see somebody who's been holding back feelings for a long time. Yeah, because I keep on seeing, like, the thing about it, when, like, the shape of someone caring about us is the sound of someone who doesn't want to ruin something that they have with us, right? And especially with this crane energy, you know, I feel like I see somebody, like, it feels like somebody who's like, they were already preparing to tell you how they feel, and I feel like you made somebody's like, you made some, I keep hearing them say you made somebody's life because you didn't have to require them to effectively risk everything in order to effectively tell you. Jazz, I have no idea what you're asking for in relationality to that. If you would like to get on the list, you just need to go to the tree that has banks in it and send a donation. All right. Yep. I got you, Ivana. One card, Celestial, please. I feel like there's something about it feels very much like someone articulating and trusting your judgment in terms of identifying what feels for you versus something that doesn't feel energetically necessary. Yeah, particularly with this Ace of Cups in its reversal. I feel like you're healing. I feel like I see you healing from some kind of like bestial energy. And the thing about bestial energy is, like, it's never healthy. because it's often like the way you usually can tell bestial energy is when somebody says like, oh, I thought you'd do anything for me. Recognizing and understanding the quality of love is that we never try to articulate how far someone will go for us. We protect, we protect them in the context of not requiring someone to do something in extremity. Yeah. I got you, Ruby. One card on having, I gotta write that down for Ivana though. Hold on a moment. Got it. One card on them and a deeper conversation. I mean, they feel like they're having a conversation with you. You know, like that, like that's the thing about it. I see somebody who doesn't feel like they can promise anything to you right now beyond their feelings. You know, like it feels to me like somebody trying to articulate the fact that their feelings haven't changed, but they also, it's like, it also says to me their situation hasn't either, which is why it feels like music is a good conveyance system, because it's them being able to communicate how they feel without putting an obligation towards it. One card for Minnie around that energy. Yeah, it feels like you're in the process of bringing that energy towards you. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, especially with this Ace of Cups. You know, I think a lot of it has to do with you being able to, you know, I need to point out, like, I don't know why, but it's like, I feel like your soul family recognizes that you need time to heal from something, you know? And I don't know why, but it feels like there's some kind of quality of apology there too. You know, it's interesting because it feels like the energy I'm getting around something feels extremely apologetic. Mm-hmm. But I want to point this out. Your soul family will not cringe in giving you that apology. Yeah. I also need to write down what you wrote. Like I need you, like Ivana, I need you to write down. I need you to write down your misspelling on that because that's also really interesting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's okay, Bolton. You just need to whenever you feel like whenever you want to have your question, you just need to let me know if you would like a highest priority or if you have a specific question you want to ask. And DC, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. You're so welcome, Ivana. Sending you support on that journey, dear. Oh, thank you for also listening to their one card. If it resonated, let it connect to you as well, Ruby. And DC, thank you for sharing the live. Always appreciate when you guys share the live. Highest priority for Bolton, please. you gotta give yourself time right now as you're rebuilding. This is a rebuilding time for you. Bolton. Yeah, right. Especially as it relates to healing from some kind of relationship wound. Like someone who cares about you isn't going to stay, isn't going to base whether they stay on what you're providing, right? I just keep on hearing we build together or not at all, which is the state by which we don't articulate our disappointment in each other, but we work into the context of doing what is energetically necessary, is what I keep on hearing. I feel like there's a lot of healing that you're having to do from someone who, like, no matter what you did. And I like to point out sometimes the observation of saying somewhat to someone, it seems like nothing I do is ever enough. That's a wound that they're carrying. That's not your wound, that's theirs. Because if they can't articulate what enough is, then that's you having to experience the wound of another person's ambition, right? Which is, and again, some of us carry that wound, but at least we're conscientious or recognize the fact that we're carrying it. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got you, Ruby. I mean, the thing about it, like the thing I keep on seeing, it's like I feel like what the guides are basically saying is that person needs to pick a direction, right? Like not allowing the music just to be like not allowing the music to speak for them, but to make sure that their words align with what they're sending you like musically. One card, highest priority for Esteban. Yeah, this feels like you kind of preparing for a big change, or someone getting you ready for some kind of new opportunity. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, particularly with this Three of Wands in its reversal. Just make sure, you know, don't like, I don't think it's a situation by which you need to push so hard right now. It says just continue to build consistently and steadily. You're moving in the right direction every day. You know, like I keep on saying, that thing that you're hoping for, it's going to come through. You're not going to need to force it. You just need to work towards it. I appreciate you as well, Ruby. All right, my friends, final call right now for anyone who is a super fan who has not had a card pulled today, or for anyone who's a paid member over on the place where we keep the videos. We will be back on tomorrow at our standard time, so 7:15 a.m. PST, 10:15 a.m. Eastern. If you would like to be notified as to when I've gone live, you can head over to my profile and register directly for the event tomorrow. You can also, if you get on the list today, you will be the first person read for tomorrow, and you'll also have priority, which means you'll be read for before we start the daily collective. If you became a super fam today or a paid subscriber, welcome. I would ask you to message me directly from this live with a disco gift, and I will send you an invite to the super fam only disco channel. You can introduce yourself there to the collective, and you'll also find in the perks section a special coupon code for our next tarot class, for our tarot class program. Our next class is on Thursday, July 17th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the two cards in the minor arcana. CTF, if you can just give me the initial where you sent the donation, I can confirm if you got on the list for a reading. I just need the initial. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that you're tuning in from India. Welcome. I hope you're having a beautiful day, Tejas. Welcome from Africa as well. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Thank you for being here today and receiving these messages. Huge thank you to my subscribers. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me. And the biggest thank you as well. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another. And we will do this again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone, and take care. You're so welcome.